She stood right in front of my garage, clipboard in hand, tapping her pen like she owned the place. Her bright pink shirt almost matched her attitude. "You can't keep that truck here," she barked, pointing at my old Chevy parked inside my garage. I had to laugh, because how do you even respond to something that ridiculous? I leaned on the doorframe and said calmly, "This is my property, Karen. You don't make the rules here." Her face turned red. That kind of red you see when someone realizes they've lost control but can't admit it. "The HOA rules are clear," she said, waving her fake papers in my face. "All vehicles over 20 years old must be removed or towed. So I've already called the towing company." I raised an eyebrow. "You did what?" That's when a white tow truck rolled into my driveway, rumbling like it was ready for war. The driver stepped out, orange vest, grim face. Probably thinking he was just doing his job. He looked at me, then at her, unsure who the real owner was. "Sir," he said, "she said this truck violates community rules." Before I could reply, Karen cut in. "Don't talk to him, just hook it up." I could feel my patience thinning. I walked over to the garage door, pressed the button, and let it close slowly, right in front of both of them. The door clanged shut, sealing the truck inside. Karen froze, hands on her hips, eyes wide. "What are you doing?" she screamed. I looked her dead in the eye. "You're not towing anything today." Then I locked the garage. The tow driver stepped back, mumbling, "Ma'am, I'm not sure about this." But Karen snapped, "Do it, or I'll call the HOA president myself." That's when I pulled out my phone and said quietly, "You know what, Karen? Go ahead, but I'm calling the sheriff." Her smug grin vanished. She didn't know this wasn't the first time someone tried to mess with me on my own land. And it sure wouldn't end the way she thought. Karen froze for a second, her fake confidence slipping like wet paint. You wouldn't dare," she stuttered, clutching that clipboard like a weapon. "Oh, I would," I said, dialing the sheriff's office. "You want to play official? Let's make it official." The tow driver scratched his head, taking a small step back. He clearly didn't sign up for neighborhood drama. "Ma'am," he muttered, "if this guy owns the property, I can't touch the vehicle." Karen spun on him like a storm. "You can, and you will. The HOA rules give me authority." I laughed under my breath. "Authority? Karen, you don't even live on this street." She froze again, caught. The driver's eyes widened, now realizing he'd been tricked into a private vendetta. Before he could say anything else, the sheriff's SUV turned the corner, lights flashing, just enough to get everyone's attention. Karen's face went pale. "You actually called them?" "Yep," I said. "Figured they should meet the woman trying to tow a man's truck off his own land." The sheriff stepped out, calm but sharp. "Afternoon, folks," he said, looking between us. "Someone reported a property dispute?" Karen jumped in immediately. "Yes, officer. Sheriff. He's violating HOA regulations and refusing to cooperate. His truck." The sheriff held up a hand. "Ma'am, slow down. This garage," he pointed, "is on his property line. Unless you've got a court order, you have no authority here." Karen blinked rapidly, pretending to search for words. But the HOA?" "Ma'am," the sheriff interrupted. "This address isn't even listed under any HOA jurisdiction. You're out of bounds." The tow driver's jaw dropped. He took one slow step toward his truck and muttered, "I'm out. Not worth the trouble." Sigh. Karen turned toward him, shouting, "Don't you dare leave." But he'd already climbed in and started the engine. Sigh. I folded my arms, watching her crumble. "Guess you'll have to tow it yourself, Karen." The sheriff smirked just a little, then looked at me. Mind if I take a quick look at your paperwork, just to close this case properly? Sigh. I was on it. I said, and that's when the real twist began. I handed the sheriff a thick folder from my porch table. He flipped it open, scanning through the pages. Karen leaned in, trying to peek, her voice trembling, but still full of false authority. Those documents can't be valid. The HOA manages everything here. He's lying. The sheriff raised an eyebrow. These are official land deeds, ma'am, signed and recorded 10 years ago. Her mouth fell open. That's impossible. This entire street is under HOA control. I couldn't help but grin. It was, until last year. The previous developer sold off a few lots privately. Guess who bought this one? Karen's eyes darted between me and the sheriff, panic creeping in. You're saying this isn't part of our neighborhood anymore? The sheriff closed the folder and nodded. That's exactly what I'm saying. And if you've been posting notices or ordering tow trucks here, you might be trespassing. Karen took a step back. Trespassing? I was just trying to keep the community safe. By breaking into a man's garage, I shot back. Or maybe by putting fake HOA fines on my door last week? The sheriff's expression changed. He was taking notes now. You have evidence of that? Sure do. I tapped my phone and showed him a photo of Karen standing right in my driveway, sticking a bright yellow paper to my door. The sheriff studied it closely. Ma'am, he said sternly, that's not just trespassing. That could count as harassment. Karen's breathing quickened. This is ridiculous. You don't know who you're talking to. Oh, I know exactly who I'm talking to, the sheriff said. And I think I'll be talking to the county about you too. She tried to keep her cool, but the sweat on her forehead gave her away. You'll regret this, she hissed at me. I leaned forward slightly. Funny thing, Karen. People who say that usually do. The sheriff's radio crackled. He nodded to me, then turned back to her. Ma'am, I'd recommend you leave before this turns into something official. Karen took one last look at me, muttered something under her breath, and stormed off down the street, shaking. But the thing is, I knew she wasn't done. Karen never quits after losing once. And I was right, because 2 nights later, I caught her doing something I never expected. It was just past midnight when I heard a metallic clank outside my window. At first, I thought it was the wind rattling the trash cans. But then I saw the faint beam of a flashlight cutting across my driveway. I grabbed my phone and quietly peeked through the blinds. There she was, Karen, sneaking around my garage again, wearing a hoodie like she was in some undercover mission. A second figure stood near the street, a man with a reflective vest, the same tow driver from before. I hit record on my phone's camera. She whispered something to him, pointing at the garage door. I could barely make it out. Just hook it. He can't stop us this time. I stepped back, shaking my head in disbelief. This woman was really trying to tow my truck again, at night, after being warned by the sheriff. I slipped on my jacket, quietly opened the front door, and walked out onto the porch. You lost again, Karen? I said loudly enough for both of them to jump. Her flashlight beam hit me straight in the face. You can't keep that truck here. The HOA. There's no HOA here, I barked back, stepping closer, and you're trespassing on private property at 12:30 in the morning. The tow driver raised his hands. Hey man, she said it was her property. Karen spun on him, furious. Don't talk to him, just do your job. But this time, the driver wasn't falling for it. Lady, last time the sheriff nearly wrote me up because of you. I'm not going through that again. He unhooked the chain and backed away. Karen's eyes went wild. "You're useless," she snapped, before turning toward me. "You think you've won? I'm calling the HOA board right now." I smiled, holding up my phone. "You should probably call a lawyer instead." Her face went blank as I showed her the live camera feed. Every second of her trespassing recorded in crystal clear HD. She stammered, "You can't use that." "Oh, I can," I interrupted. "And tomorrow, the sheriff will have a copy." Her jaw tightened. "You're bluffing." I pointed at the red blinking light on my porch camera. "Am I?" She froze for a moment, then turned and ran down the street, leaving the tow driver awkwardly apologizing before driving off. I stood there for a moment, letting out a deep breath. It should have been over right there. But the next morning, I got a letter in the mail that proved Karen wasn't giving up. She was about to go much further than I ever expected.